ॐ ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
अग्रे तस्मै दृष्टे भानुः रात्रौ सुमुखसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्षस्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापाशः कुरुते गङ्गा सागरगमनं वृथ परिपालनमथवा दानम् ज्ञानविहीन सर्वमतेन मुक्तिं न भजति जन्मशतेन सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्याभूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रहभोगत्यागः तस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गा जललवकणिका पीता सगृधति येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा
योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति 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 एव. Whether a person is in yoga or bhoga, with company or in solitude, that person who is thinking about Brahman alone is happy, happy, happy. Yoga and bhoga are opposites. Crowd and solitude are opposites. Yoga and bhoga talks about the pairs of opposites. Crowd and solitude also is about opposites only. So it means whichever opposite he is experiencing, he is happy. Whatsoever opposite he is experiencing, whichever opposite aspect of life that he is exposed to, he is happy. He is happy. Even though it is translated as Ramati, happy. It is translated as Ramati. It's translated as Ramati, happy, Ramati, happy. More than the translation of Ramati, happy, it should be understood as he is in bliss, he is in bliss, he is in bliss. A unaffected state of mind. Ramati, happiness, is a unaffected state of mind. What is that unaffected state of mind? The unaffected state of mind is the peace of mind, the bliss, the peace, the happiness. Therefore, whosoever is thinking about the highest will be in peace of mind. When you are in bhoga, the mind will jump to yoga. When you are in yoga, the mind will want to bhoga. When you are with people, you want to be all alone. When you are all alone, you seek a company. This is this is the natural way in which the mind functions. Natural way in which the mind functions is when you are in yoga, the mind want to travel to bhoga. When you are in bhoga, you will want to come back to yoga. When you are with the crowd of people, you feel like I want my space. When you are given your space, you start feeling lonely and start calling people. Isn't it? So either way, the mind is unhappy about, either way, the mind is unhappy about what it currently experiencing. From this, we arrive at one thing. Whatsoever you are currently experiencing, the mind is unhappy, disturbed about it. And then it seeks the opposite as the freedom. Here he says, these two opposites, this yoga and bhoga, company without company, are external factors which you have to necessarily go through all the time, but you can remain unaffected by these. That's what he said. So even though these two are there, you can still choose to be, you can still have the potential to be unaffected. That unaffected state is what is called as the knowledge. That unaffected state is brought in by the, the, the knowledge. And also we saw this verse is talking about a person of perfection. Also we saw that. And wherever they talk about a person of perfection, a human perfection, from that we try to derive a sadhana also. From that we try to derive a sadhana that which can be, that which we can practice so that we can do something about it. Now, what is the practice that what is the practice? What is the message that we can get from here? The inner transformation alone is the solution to the fluctuations of the opposites, is the message. Inner transformation is the one and only solution to the fluctuations of the external. The external is bound to, the external means fluctuations. There cannot be a stable external. As we said, the world means pairs of opposites. Opposites means fluctuations. Therefore, inner transformation alone is the method. And this inner transformation is achieved in stages again. You don't directly you don't directly straight away transform. The inner transformation also is possible only through stages. That's where we talk about the various stages of spiritual. That's where we talk about the various stages of spiritual growth, etc. And he's also going to give a lot of sadhana. From now on, he's going to give some sadhana, and then he's going to talk about Bahiranga sadhana. Later on, he's going to talk about Antaranga sadhana. So when we go there, we get to see quite a lot of practices. In this verse, the message is this. In this verse, what is the message? Inner transformation is the only solution, and this inner transformation is achieved in stages. Therefore, you should understand inner transformation is the only solution, and this can happen only in stages. The moment we say it is in stages, it means there is an element of time involved. When we say it's stages, there is an element of time. There is an element of time involved. We cannot be in we cannot be in a hurry to get rid of the mental agitations. Remember, always remember this. Whenever the mind is in a hurry for transformation, it is preparing for next indulgence. Take it or leave it. Whenever the mind is in a hurry for transformation, it is not mumukshatva. The hurry for change, the hurry for transformation is understood as growth, mumukshatva, etc. It is not that. It is a simple preparation for the next round of, it's a simple preparation for another round of indulgence. Why? Because the inner transformation is a guarantee that indulgences will not produce the consequences of agitations. Again, I repeat, inner transformation, the mind sees inner transformation as a guarantee from mental agitations. Because it's getting a guarantee from mental agitations, quickly I want to go, quickly I want to grow, quickly I want to grow. Therefore, the other thing is what? You cannot be in a inner transformation is the only solution, and that inner transformation cannot happen in a hurry. You cannot try to you cannot be hurrying about it. Speed implies greed. Speed means speed and greed. Yeah, I think only one alphabet change, spelling wise also. Speed is so speed is nothing but greed, because wanting to go to that state in a hurry. The unstable mind is the unhappy mind, and greedy mind is the unstable mind. Greedy mind is an unstable mind. What is the mind that is matured? Yes, inner transformation is the only solution. And for this inner transformation to happen, it has to go through. And for this inner transformation to happen, it has to go through stages. And whatever the stages are, it's ready to, whatever the stages are, it's ready to go through that. He alone enjoys who holds on to Brahman. He alone enjoys whose mind holds on to Brahman. Down the line, you can understand it as relatively, he alone enjoys who's holding on to. You can call it as dharma, you can call it as karma yoga, you can call it as vairagya. Who he alone enjoys, whose mind is holding on to dharma, he alone enjoys, whose mind is holding on to karma yoga, sadhana chatushtaya sampad. You can add that list. Not necessarily in the ultimate state of Brahman alone. Even at this level, the mind that is holding on to dharma and all these itself becomes a source of enjoyment, happiness. Happiness here is not the senses getting tickled. Happiness here is not an emotional fulfillment. Happiness here is a stability, a stable mind. The unwavering, stable mind is the effect of the study. So it is repeated thrice. Nandati, nandati, nandati eva. To indicate that it is unconditional. Unconditional in relation to the instruments. Unconditional in relation to what? Unconditional in relation to the instruments. Otherwise, it is all related to the, otherwise everything is related to the happiness that we seek, or the happiness that we experience is always connected to the instruments. Instruments means Pleasant at the level of the body keeps me happy. Unpleasant at the level of the body keeps me unhappy. Emotional thing, intellectual thing, whatever be it. Therefore, योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा संगरतो वा संगविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति 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 एव. Brahmani ramate chittam means the mind. Ramate chittam means the mind established in the higher. Whatever be the higher at your level. Whatever be the higher at your level. For the scripture, there is only one thing, that is Brahman. But then, having understood that growth happens in stages, we understand that the stable mind is the mind that is holding on to something higher. What is higher? The gradations of higher we have seen. The starting point of the higher is, what is the starting point of the higher? Dharma is the starting point of the higher. For it is the unseen foundation that supports everything. Dharma is the highest. Now hold on to it. But that itself is one Janma course on what is Dharma, isn't it? What is Dharma will take one Janma to understand. And then comes Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampat, and then comes Karma Yoga, and then comes everything. All that you need to understand is what? All that you need to understand is allow the mind to hold on to the higher. Allow the mind to be consciously aware of Dharma and be there. Anchor yourself in that. Verse number 20 बढ़ेगा.
भगवद्गीता किंचिदधीता गंगा जललवकणिका पीता सगृधपियेन मुरारिसमच्च क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा. भगवद्गीता किंचिदधीता गंगा जललवकणिका पीता सगृधपियेन मुरारिसमच्च क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा.
He who has studied the Bhagavad Gita even a little, drunk a little drop of Ganges water, worshipped Murari at least once, he has no contention with Yama, Lord of Death. He who has studied Bhagavad Gita even a little, drunk a little drop of Ganges water, worshipped Murari at least once, he has no contention with Yama, the Lord of Death. No contention with Lord of Yama, death means no charcha. You understand the word charcha, no? Don't understand the word charcha. Charcha means fight, argument, fight. You will have no contention with, you will have no problem with Yama. No fight with Yama. We'll see all that. So, first he is saying, what are the practices? What are the practices? The last two verses spoke about the glory of the perfection, the glory of enlightenment. Having spoken about the glory of enlightenment, etc., now the question: what are the practices? So, Bhagavad Gita kinchit adita, Ganga jalalava kanika pita, Sagridapiyena murari samarcha, Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha. First thing. Bhagavad Gita, Kinchidadita. Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Sakritapi Yena Murari. First thing. We'll talk about worshipping little bit. We'll go study. He's talking about study. He's talking about worshipping. First thing, worship. What is the meaning of worship? What is the meaning of worship? Worship means one who has made his ego bow down even a little. That is worship. When the ego bows down even a little bit, that ego bowing down is called worship, bhakti. The head bow down is bhakti. Carefully follow. It does not matter before whom you bow down or what you bow down. Bowing down is important. Again, I repeat. It doesn't really matter towards whom you bow down, towards what you bow down. But you should remember that you must bow down. It doesn't matter whether you bow down in a temple or a church or a mosque or in front of a tree or to the vacant sky or to a rock. It doesn't matter. Are you able to bow down? Are you okay till now? Are you able to bow down when things are all right and good around you? When things are not going your way and when you are in misery, everybody bows down. The helplessness, the utter helplessness will make you to bow down, and and the utter helplessness is very hurtful to the ego. Therefore, therefore it will quickly want to come and establish itself. That's why after bowing down, there will be an extreme expression of arrogance. Why? Because ego is not going down out of an understanding. It is going down out of a frustration. What is a frustration? Something is happening which I don't want to happen. I have no control, no say on it. I am bowing down, and the ego is so hurt by that bowing down, it asserts itself back. Are you able to follow? The opposite of that is this. What is the opposite of this? The ego bows down out of maturity. So worshipping means the ego bowing down out of maturity. God or the higher is a method by which the ego should bow down. The statue or the deity in front is not important. Carefully follow. The statue or deity in the front is not important. Are you bowing down is important. Once you have learned to bow down, the ego will never ever assert itself back. To whatever extent it has genuinely bent, to that extent it will be bent all the time. It will never ever become erect. But most of the time we bend and we become immediately erect. It means in the first place bowing down never happens. That is worship. Bhagavad Gita Kinchida Dita. Little bit of the Gita. One who has read even a little of the Gita. Actually speaking, reading little is good. Reading more is only going to make you more arrogant. Reading little is really good. Blessed are those who can't read. Yeah. Blessed are those who can't read. Yeah. Hmm? A wasp, you understand the wasp, no? The wasp, the insect, read a book on aviation. It read a book on aviation. And after reading that book on aviation, what happened to that wasp? It developed a mental block. What is the mental block it developed? It couldn't fly anymore. Why? Because according to the law of aviation, I don't know what is it, aerodynamics, huh? According to the aerodynamics, body is heavier than the wings. How can it fly? That is the wasp. The body is heavier, the wings is lighter. Wings is small and weak, body is heavy and big. On reading this, it got utterly confused. What is the confusion? It couldn't fly anymore. That's why you should not read. Unnecessarily read பண்ணக்கூடாது. That's why you should not read unnecessarily. Unnecessarily post பண்ணக்கூடாது. இல்லையா? More problematic is forwarding and posting. Yeah. Because it creates it creates such an utter confusion in everybody. The person who wrote aerodynamics thought he is writing it good only, but he didn't realize that wasp also can have access to the. He didn't understand wasp also can have access to the book. Right. One day, what happened? Another bird attacked it. When another bird attacked, what happened? What could have happened? Srikanth. Aerodynamics எல்லாம் வந்துருது. It can't fly. It is sitting, contemplating, meditating. Vedanta class also it is coming and sitting, not knowing what to do now because it has developed a mental block that it can't fly. One day, another bird attacked. What happened immediately? Yeah. You don't need an Einstein brain to guess, no? What happened? It immediately flew. Then it understood what? भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम मूढ़मते संप्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहीं रक्षति डुक्रन करने नहीं रक्षति डुक्रन करने. It is understood. Bhagavad Gita kinchit adita. Read little bit. Read little bit means what? Consumption should be less, digestion should be more. Don't go on consuming. Intellectual greed is to consume more. Yeah. If glutton is a physical problem, being gluttony is a physical problem, voracious reading is an intellectual problem. It's just the same thing. No difference between a glutton and the one who just goes on and on and on reading without anchoring anywhere. Therefore, he says, Bhagavad Gita kinchit adita. Even a little bit of Bhagavad Gita. Why the little bit of Bhagavad Gita? Mahabharata has 100,000 verses. Ramayana has 32,000 verses, roughly speaking. Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses. Other Puranas has so many verses. And then comes the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharva Veda, the mantras, and then the Bhagavad Gita, and then the Brahma Sutra, and then the Bhashyas, and then the introductory, and then the introductory textbooks. Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, not only all that, and then the ancillary books also. By the time you finish finding out how many things you have to read, your Janma is over. Yeah, now you don't have even read anything. By the time you would have found out how many things to read, Janma is, there was Bhagavad Gita Kinchit Adita. What is that little bit? The little bit is not the quantity. The little bit is the little bit is the effort that you make to digest. So Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita. Kinchit means to the extent required. Now, what is that required extent? Is there a standard like that? No, he's not. He's only emphasizing the study of scriptures as the first discipline. So, Bhagavad Gita, Kinchidadita describes the first discipline of study of scriptures. Second, Ganga Jala Lavana Kanika Pita. Ganga Jala Lavana Kanika Pita. Today, this Ganga Jala Lavana Kanika Pita Mandal is no more associated with tapas because it has become one tourism, isn't it? It has become one. It is becoming more of a tourism than any tapas involved. In those days, it was that Tirthayatra pilgrimages involves tapas. Nowadays, there is no all these pilgrimages today. Yeah. All these pilgrimages today is more of an entertainment rather than any tapas involved in that. To go to the for the people in the south, going to Kashi and Ganges is the highest spiritual discipline. For the people in the north, what is the highest spiritual discipline? That's why you go to Rameshwaram, you will never find any local fellow there. You know that? Bengalis will be there, Orissa people will be there, UP people will be there. Srikanth, have you ever been to Rameshwaram? Pove matam namballam. Yeah, we will not even care. Yeah, just as those people there don't care. Just as those people there, they don't care. Yeah, they don't care because Ganga, Jalalava, Kanika, Pita, you open the tap if from the tap Ganges is coming, why will you worry about that? Therefore, pilgrimages is an way of experiencing tapas. But we don't understand it like that. For us, it is more of a comfort, isn't it? Tirthayatra pilgrimages is a deliberate act of brahmacharya, self-denial. For a short period of time, you go through the process of denying your senses. You go through the process of denying it. Why do you have to ensure that the denial should happen to the senses? Why it is very important to have the self-denial practices? We have studied this any number of times. What is the problem of the senses? Anybody? One word. What is the problem of the senses? Sense organs. What is the problem of the sense organs? Addictions, indulgence. Correct. Indulgence, addiction. Anything that it contacts gets some joy, and it will continue to contact that again and again and again, develop an addiction. Therefore, the nature of sense organs is to get addicted, and addiction happens through indulgence. Are you okay? The nature of sense organs is to get addicted, and addiction happens through indulgence. And we do not know how to get out of addictions after getting addicted. Because before getting addicted, we won't even know that it is an addiction. After getting addicted, it has become so strong that we don't even know how to get out of it. What is the spiritual discipline? The spiritual discipline is, from the beginning, never allow the senses to get addicted to anything. Never allow the senses to get addicted to anything. Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita represents these kind of disciplines. Sagradapi Yena Murari Samarcha. Murari represents Vishnu. Murari represents Vishnu. Doesn't know. What is the regular practice that you should have? What is the regular practice that you should have? Not going to temples. Bowing down at least once in the morning and once in the evening. Have the discipline of bowing down once in the morning and once in the evening. That's why in every household, there is supposed to be a puja place, isn't it? 3 BHK, 4 BHK. I always say, why don't you put 4 PBHK? Yeah. நாராயண்ஜி அந்த மாதிரி பாருங்க இல்லையா? சி 4 PBHK மாதிரி பாருங்க. அவர் பாட்டில் மெசேஜ் போட்டுனே இருப்பாரு. Why only BHK? BHKனா விஜயரங்கன் பெட்ரூம், ஹால், கிச்சன். அதில் ஒரு பி ஆட் பண்ணிக்கணும் இல்லையா? பூஜா. Vivekananda says, the last thing that you will worry in the house is the puja room. That also you keep only to make you not feel guilty. Otherwise, who cares about that? Why do you even bother about it? What is puja means? What is worshipping means? Bowing. Puja means, worshipping means bowing down. You can never make a society religious, but at least you can keep your house religious. That is possible. That's how it was working in the past. They never worried about reforming the society. They were always keeping the focus was entirely on the household all the time. Again, I repeat, the focus of the Shastras was more on the household rather than the society. Why? Because it is realistically you can do something at the level of the house, but impossible to do something at the level of the society. Today, everybody wants to do everything at the level of the society only. Yeah. The whole society must be reformed, sir. Everybody must be reformed. Everybody must change. Everybody should do this. Everybody should do that. At least everybody should come to Vedanta class, no, sir? Why should they have to come? When you don't have anything else to do, only you will come. When you have something meaningful to do, why will you come? Isn't it? So what is this Murari Samarcha? Instead of converting the society into religious, convert the house into make, it is possible to make the house religious. Are you okay till now? If you continue the same line, it is easy to keep the household dharmic than worrying about the entire society being dharmic. But then our problem is, but sir, if I alone is dharmic and people around me are adharmic, will it not? Will I not be a victim of it? Will I not be? Will I not be? ஏமாத்திடுவாங்க இல்லையா? Isn't it? So in your, it means what? In your assumption, if I'm dharmic, I'll get cheated. It means what? In your assumption, dharmic means you have to become a fool. Only a fool will get cheated. Where is it said dharmic will get cheated? Are you able to follow? But the problem always is what we say: if you are very dharmic and religious, everybody will take you for a ride. It means very clearly, it's a very deep-rooted conviction that you have. What is a very deep-rooted conviction that you have? If you have to become religious, you will be a religious means you will become a fool, and a fool will be taken for a ride. Huh? Obviously, the fool will be taken for a ride only. But then a person dharmic, how can a dharmic person be taken for a ride? It's impossible. Therefore, the three disciplines, in fact, all Shastric disciplines is either predominantly is focused on the individual, at the most, it goes to the level of the family. Remember that. At the most, it will go to the level of the family. It will never come at the level of it will never come at the level of the society. Why it will never come at the level of the society? These individual members who are part of the family alone becomes the society. There is no such thing called society as such. A group of individuals put together is called society. So if you have to really worry and take care of the society, who do you have to take care of? The family, the individual. Therefore, all the spiritual practices will be revolving around these two only. It is not that they are. It's not that they are wanting you to get involved and attached to the family. It only says realistically it is possible. What is realistically possible? Study Bhagavad Gita little bit. The scriptures are meant to give you the capacity to fly. The scriptures are meant to give you the capacity to fly, not to make you lame. That's why we are so worried about the scriptures. We are so worried about dharma because we believe dharma will make me lame. And Allah sir, we have to be very careful in these practices. Allah, all these practices we have to be very careful because it makes a person mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim. In the Dhyana slokas of the Bhagavad Gita, he says it makes a mute it makes a mute speak, lame scale mountains. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim. If the scriptures or the spiritual practices are making you lame, it means you have not it means you have not understood it rightly. If the scriptures have made you sad, it means you have not understood it. It means you have not understood it rightly. If dharma makes you feel you are vulnerable, it means you have not understood it. It means you have not understood it rightly. The scripture that is telling you that the divine is hidden inside of you is the same scripture that tells you that divine is hidden in those whom you condemn also. Are you able to follow? Again, the scripture that tells you that divine is hidden inside of you is the same scripture that tells you the same divine is hidden in those whom you criticize and condemn and have hatred. But then what happens is more and more you study, more and more you become very critical. That's why I have never, it's always very funny. Yeah? If one person turns very spiritual in the family, the rest of the family can't stand that person. Not because this person has become a Shankaracharya. Not this person has become Shankaracharya, isn't it? If one person turned religious, even in Vedanta classes also, suddenly if one person in the family start coming to Vedanta classes, I always pray to God, no divorce should happen in that family. No fight and divorces should happen in the, I'm not joking, genuinely I pray. Genuinely, because they learn a few things here. They go and start condemning and criticizing the whole lot. It's like all the venom has the extra authenticity of the venom has the authenticity of the Shastra also now. Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadita. The study of the scripture should not make you lame, should not make you critical, should not make you condemning. It should make you understand what? The divine that is hidden in you is the divine that is hidden in the one whom you condemn. Little, little. Isn't it? He used to give this as a joke. A person came up to the Swami and said, I have read Bhagavad Gita. I have gone through Gita 30 times. He said, how many times Gita gone through you? You went through Gita 30 times, but Gita never even touched you. So little bit means that Gita that you have studied should touch you. What is Gita touching you means? One idea, one thought, one quality transforms you. One idea, one thought, one quality you hold on to, and that transforms you. Meaning what? The understanding has brought about an inner transformation. With that inner transformation, wherever you go, it will remain within you. Remember this. When you are when inner transformation happens, wherever you go, the inner transformation will stay with you. Supposing if you have not transformed internally, but got only theories. But got only theories. Theories means what is stolen from the scriptures and the masters. That which is stolen from the scriptures and the masters, you parrot it and you believe that it's yours. By parroting it doesn't mean it is. Parroting doesn't mean it is It's yours. There is a story in the Mahabharata. Dronacharya was teaching everybody, and Dronacharya thought Yudhishthira was a very wise, intelligent student. He thought. After a few weeks of learning, Dronacharya felt that Yudhishthira is stuck at lesson number 1, while others are learning fast and growing. He's still stuck at lesson number 1, and others are still growing. Every day they learn new lessons. Dronacharya's patience also came to an end. He said, how long are you going to be in the first lesson? Aren't you going forward? Aren't you go to the next lesson? Yudhishthira said, I have not learned the first lesson. I have not mastered the first lesson. If I have not mastered the first lesson, how can I go to the next lesson? And what is the first lesson? And what is the first lesson? Speak the truth. Satyam vada. Dharmanchara. Those are the first lessons. He's saying, when I have not understood this, how can I go to the next? How can I go to the next lessons? Dronacharya said, by learning this one lesson, you will learn all the lessons, Yudhishthira. Just by learning this one lesson thoroughly, you would have learned all the lessons. This is what is meant by little. Learning that lesson little bit. Learning, not memorizing. Please understand, learning, not memorizing. Learning doesn't mean knowledge. Learning doesn't mean memorizing. Please understand, knowledge makes you more ignorant. Knowledge will make you more and more ignorant. How do you say that? Every piece of knowledge that you gain opens up 10 new questions. You gain a knowledge, you ask a question, an answer is given. That answer, does it make you wise, or that from that answer 10 new questions come? From that answer 10 new questions comes, and then for that 10 questions 10 answers are given. And from that 10, how much questions will come? 100, 1000. Group discussion is entertaining. Yeah, that's how group discussion gets very entertained. It just goes on and on and on. What is gaining knowledge here means? At the end of the story, you find only Yudhishthira was able to reach the heaven, while rest all faltered. Nobody could reach. Only Yudhishthira could go along with the dog. Here, it's very symbolic. Only Yudhishthira could reach the heaven with the dog, and dog represents what? Yudhishthira represents the one who follows the truth. Dog represents what? Dog represents the one who has faith in that. Because dog is faith. Yeah. That's why we say dog is faithful animal, isn't it? And it is true. It is really, really faithful. Those who have had falls in love with dogs so much. That's why always people don't have dogs at home. Because you can never love a human being after that. Because a human being will not be faithful at all. But the dog is so utterly Correct? No, the dog is so utterly faithful. That's why even when one goes, they bring in two. When two goes, they bring in four. You should do that to human beings, not to dogs. You should do that to, yeah, when one rend nala, human beings should go in numbers, not dogs. But what does the dog represents? The Yudhishthira represents the conviction in the truth. Dog represents the one who has faith in the truth. Both reached heaven. One who had conviction in the truth reached heaven. One who had faith reached the heaven. Whoever has learnt one lesson has learnt it all. Whoever has learnt one lesson learnt it all. But to come to that one lesson, we may have to wander a lot. Now we are wandering. To come to that one lesson, we have to wander so much. Now we are in the wandering phase. We have not come to the anchored phase. We are in the wandering phase now. What is that? What is that one lesson? What is that one lesson? Little of the Gita. What is that one lesson? Little of the Gita. Little of the Gita means the first word of the Gita alone is enough. What is the first word of the Gita? Very first verse, very first word. What is the very first word of the very first verse? Bhagavad Gita. Long back. One of the things. Dhritarashtra Uvacha, no, sir. Because that's the first word. Dhritarashtra is the first word. I said perfectly correct it is. Dhritarashtra is the perfect thing. Dharma, Kshetra, Guru Kshetra, is not that. அதெல்லாம் சும்மா பகவ அதெல்லாம் அதெல்லாம் டப்பா இதெல்லாம் டப்பா பண்ணின ஒரு ஆன்சர் இதெல்லாம். Dabba means what? Yeah, Dharma, Kshetra, Guru Kshetra is not the first word of Bhagavad Gita. The very first word of Bhagavad Gita is Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dhritarashtra is the first word of the Bhagavad Gita. Because Dhritarashtra lenda it starts. It means what? It all starts with blindness first. That blinded person should inquire about dharma. Start like that's where he says Bhagavad Gita Kinchit Adita. But then people, I have heard any number of people talking on this. I have studied, so everybody talks about it as one verse of Bhagavad Gita, one idea from Bhagavad Gita. I said, not that one verse, start from Bhagavad Gita. What is the very first word of Bhagavad Gita? From now on, you should remember to say, Aparna. Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, எல்லாம் சொல்லாதீங்க. இல்லையா அதெல்லாம் that's not the first word. The first word is what? Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra is symbolic. And who's Dhritarashtra? Who's Dhritarashtra? Yeah, blind. Yeah. Physically blind, mentally blind, intellectually blind. Utterly. So what should be that person's, what should be that lesson? What is that lesson? That lesson is Dharma Kshetre. Correct. To say Dharma is not a wrong thing, but then one step before that. Right. For whom Dharma is that one lesson that you learn, you will learn everything. That one lesson, if you learn, you will learn everything. What is that one lesson? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya கிடையாது. He didn't say that. Not Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. What is that one lesson that you learn? You learn everything. Dharma. Because at the level of Dhritarashtra, what is important? Dharma is important. If Dhritarashtra go on accumulating scriptures, goes on reading scriptures, by hearting scriptures, as Acharya here used to say, they start teaching scriptures also. He says that is the last nail in the coffin, he says. The last nail in the coffin is they start preaching. They start teaching the scriptures also, he says. What happens to all that? No change will happen. Like the wasp. When one situation comes, you will not know. All the philosophy, all the knowledge that you had comes. All the philosophy knowing that you had comes crashing down. So what is Bhagavad Gita? Kinchidadita means. Remember these two words. Dhritarashtra and Dharma. Remember these two. Dhritarashtra, Dharma. Dhritarashtra, Dharma. Adve Bhagavad Gita Kinchit Adita. If you have not understood Dhritarashtra and if you have not actually you don't have to understand Dhritarashtra. Yeah, nobody has to make an effort to understand Dhritarashtra because we are Dhritarashtra already. So therefore, we don't have to make an effort to understand Dhritarashtra. Therefore, the Dhritarashtra must learn what? Must learn one thing. What is that one thing? That Dharma. Are you able to follow? Therefore, the first thing is what? They made the scriptures. Why the scriptures and Dharma is not at all valued? Why it is not at all valued? Anything that is easily available, you will not value. Correct? Anything that is easily available, you will not value, isn't it? Isn't it? And today, we want to make everything easily available. Today, we want to make everything easily available. And the very fact that you want to make everything easily available itself will make people. Therefore, it has to be some, what do you say? Some strictness has to be there. Some adhikaritvam has to be there. Today, no strictness, no adhikaritvam. All that you, for you to know everything, all that you need is what? If you have a phone and an internet connection, you become all-knowing, isn't it? All that you need is these two things, you become all-knowing. Is there anything that these people don't know nowadays? You give up your effort when it is easily available. The scriptures are so easily available. Brahma Vidya is so easily available that nobody understands the value of Brahma Vidya. For self-realization, Brahman, Sannyasa, all this looks like so easy that all that you need to do is you can just learn a few things here and there, you will know everything. Bhagavad Gita Kinchit Adita. Abdina, what does it mean? Little bit of Bhagavad Gita, you must remember two. Who are the two that you should remember in Bhagavad Gita always? Arjuna, Krishna, no, don't say. Don't say Arjuna, Krishna. Always say Dhritarashtra and Dharma. The first shift is from adharma to dharma. Always remember that. The first shift happens from adharma to dharma. Okay. What is adharma? What is the meaning of adharma? What is adharma? What is the definition of adharma? What is the meaning of adharma? The definition of adharma, the meaning of adharma is this. Acting on likes and dislikes. Adharma is acting on likes and dislikes. I like to do, I will do. I don't like to do, I will not do. So what is the definition of adharma? Acting on likes and dislikes. If you take this definition of adharma and look at yourself and look at the society, the whole society, including you, is nothing but a victim of likes and dislikes. So, what is adharma? Victim of likes and dislikes is adharma. How can you say that it is adharma? Because your the likes and dislikes convinces you of double standards. The likes and dislikes convinces you that you can do whatever you want to. Are you able to follow how you become adharmic? First thing, when you are a victim of your raga dvesha, double standard becomes legitimate. Double standard becomes legitimate when you are a victim of your raga dvesha. Second thing of adharma is what? You believe that you can do, you can violate to fulfill your likes and dislikes, you can do anything. Cunning, wicked, manipulation, all that will look legitimate. This is adharma. Are you able to follow? Because your likes and dislikes are so important to you, fulfillment of the likes and dislikes is so important that you will think that scheming, manipulating, scheming, manipulating, everything looks so legitimate. Why? Because you are doing it, no? Therefore, it is dharma. That's how everybody operates. This is adharma. This is called adharma. Therefore, what is that one lesson that you should learn where you would have learned all the lessons? That one lesson that you learn is dharma. What does dharma means? There is a law. Somebody will tell you what to do, what not to do, and you should obey. That is dharma. Are you able to follow? What is dharma? Dharma means a law. Somebody will tell you what to do, what not to do, and you obey that. But sir, that is slavery, sir. We should decide. No, that is slavery. I should decide. No, what I should do, I should decide. No, correct. On what basis you will decide? You because you don't have the knowledge of dharma, you will decide based on your ragadvesha only. Therefore, what is dharma? Dharma means obeying the law. What is obeying the law? The law tells you what to do, what not to do. You obey that. Law means the scriptures. Law means the scriptures. Now, the scriptures in their benevolence tells you, as you are following what I am saying, you question me. You don't question me first and then decide whether to follow or not. Are you able to follow? Again, I repeat. The scripture says, follow what I am saying. As you are following, question me. Then it will work. Supposing if you say, first I will question, understand, then I will decide whether to follow or not. Always a conclusion that you will come to is what? It can't be followed, sir. It's not practical. It can't be followed. It's not practical. It can't be followed. It's not practical. It can't be followed. Are you able to follow? Therefore, the second thing is what? Adharma to dharma. What is adharma to dharma? Adharma means I am the law. I decide for myself and I decide for everybody. That is adharma. Hiranyakashipu, isn't it? Worship me. What did Hiranyakashipu did? He placed his statues everywhere, no? Isn't it? He placed his statues everywhere and told people that everybody should worship. Ego worshipping is adharma. To put it in a very simple way, ego worshipping is adharma. And how does ego worship happens? How does ego worship happens? How does ego worship happens? Ego worship happens by this. Double standards. I set the law for others. Double standard means one law for me and one law for the others. That's what double standard is. Dharma means what? No double standards. To put it very simply, in a very simple way, mityachara, no hypocrisy. Mitya achara. Achara means discipline. Mithya means illusory, delusory. So mithyachara means one who is deluded to believe that he is disciplined. அதுதான் அதர்மா. Are you able to follow? Is there any single person comes and says, I am indisciplined? Is there any single person can come and say, I am indisciplined, sir? Everybody will say, I am disciplined already, but little bit here and there I fall, sir. Not only that, they come and tell me, I didn't know that I was following Vedanta even before coming to Vedanta class, sir. I didn't know that. I was only following Vedanta. Now only I came to know that what I was following was, then why come here now? Since I should come to you, isn't it? Shankaracharya, if you are already following Vedanta, Shankaracharya will come to you. Why will you, after following Vedanta, why will you have to come to Shankaracharya? The very fact that you are coming to Shankaracharya means you have not, you don't know, you are not following. Are you able to follow? What does adharma means? Mityachara. Mithya achara. Mithya means it's a combination of two words. Mithya achara. Mithya achara means one who's deluded in believing that they are disciplined already. Bhagavad Gita, Dharma, little bit you read, it will expose you. What it will expose you? What it will expose? Your Mithyachara will be exposed. Bhagavad Gita, Kinchid Adita. This is what Bhagavad Gita, little bit of Bhagavad Gita means. This is the meaning from adharma to this is a shift from adharma to dharma. Dhritarashtra, blind man, blind human being. What is his curiosity? The blind person's curiosity. What is a blind person's curiosity? Is my children winning? Is my children winning the battle? Is my children winning the battle? Is my children winning the battle? And he is hearing live that one by one his sons are and you know how his sons got killed, no? Dhritarashtra's sons, all the 100 Kauravas, how they were all killed. Not just one shot here, not just one shot here, even before they know what happens. No. One by one, their bones were broken. One by one, and that man is sitting and hearing all that. And still, he couldn't wake up to Dharma. That's why he is blind. Are you able to follow? He could see it, he could hear it, he could see it, but still that man wouldn't wake up. That man would not wake up. Little bit of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita Kinchit Adita. What will you do with the whole lot of scriptures? Similarly, what will you do with the whole lot of Ganges? You will get drowned in that. You will die in that. If the whole lot of Ganges comes on you, what will happen to you? You will be lost. If the whole lot of scriptures comes to you, what will you do? It's of no use to you. So little bit alone is useful to you. Little bit of Ganges, a drop alone is enough, isn't it? If bathing there is good, elsewhere he says, if bathing in the Ganges is freedom, all the fishes must be attained liberation, he says. Say, what Kutarka, sir, this is? How demeaning. All the Ganges dolphins must be enlightened. All the fishes must be enlightened. And there are two sides. There There are people living on two sides of the rivers, no? Morning, noon and night, they bathe only in Ganges. What happens to them? Ganges doesn't mean the actual water. The Ganges means there is something so there is something so beautiful about that. Tasted Ganges, not bathed in Ganges. Tasted Ganges, isn't it? One drop. Tasted Ganges. What is tasting Ganges means? Internalizing it. What is internalizing Ganges means? Ganges represents that. Ganges represents those beautiful spiritual virtues, those beautiful spiritual qualities. It it represents all that. So little bit of it you take. The third one is the the third one is the tapas. What is the tapas? Tirtha yatra pilgrimages are tapas. Nowadays, better not to go for Tirtha yatra pilgrimage because it's more often சும்மா என்டர்டெயின்மெண்ட் தான் அது. இல்லை டூரிசம், ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் டூரிசம். Spiritual tourism. Sir, I have only 3 days, sir. In 3 days, how many temples we can cover? Take them to one temple and make them sit there the whole day. That is Tirtha Yatra. You don't go from temple to temple to temple, you don't go. Yeah. You take them to one temple and make them sit in the temple the whole day. Convert yourself and maximum the house into a temple. You become a temple. At the most, which is realistically possible, is converting your house into the temple. And how can you convert your house into a temple? That's why I'm giving discourses, sir. Nobody's listening. That's why after listening to all Vedanta classes, I add up my own stories also and give, isn't it? Not only what all you say in the class, I add up my own stories also. I become more and more creative. I have heard this, sir. I have heard this from so many children. I said, tell me what your parents talk about Vedanta. How many children I have asked? And I'll be thinking, where is it said in the classes? Oh, the creativity with which Vedanta is taught. Oh my God. I learn quite a lot. 3 days back, I asked Alpana. I asked, how do they teach? Oh my God, the creativity with which Vedanta will be taught. I'm converting the house into temple. It's not working, sir. What is converting the house into temple means? Yadyadacharati sreshtaha achara. You live a life of achara, that becomes the pramanam. Sayat pramanam kurute lokas tata anuvartate. Therefore, what is this Sagradabhyena Murari Samarcha means? Converting the house into a temple. Converting the house into a temple means what? Temple, na, immediately you think of a deity, sanctum, sanctorum and all. No. What is temple means? It means that also. Temple means deity, sanctum, sanctorum, all that it means. Where there is a deity, where there is a sanctum, sanctorum, what amount of self-control and tapas will happen there? What amount of self-control and tapas will happen there? But then if there is no tapas and self-control happening, it means there is no deity, there's no sanctum sanctum. Sagridapi yena murari tamarcha. Then he comes to a beautiful conclusion. Tasya yamena na charcha. That person will not have, that person will not have any charcha with Yama. Because of charcha with Yama, no charcha with Yama means your 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 emotional maturity is so high, your emotional maturity is so high that changes cannot affect you anymore. Your emotional maturity is so high that changes stops affecting you. That's what is meant by saying tasya yamena na charcha. Materialistic society. You cannot change the materialism in a society, but you can change the materialistic attitude in you, and you can, by changing in you, you will be able to change the, by changing in you, you'll be able to change the 2 3, you'll be able to change the 2 3 around you. But then your focus is not changing the other, your focus is on the previous verse has already told us very clearly. Your focus is only on inner transformation. Sagridapiyena Murari Samarcha. One clarification and then we conclude. Yes.
Some indicators to see the hypocrite here.
The indicators to see hypocrisy. Is there any indicators that we can see the hypocrisy? First indicator of hypocrisy is what? The first indicator of hypocrisy is hatred. Dvesha is the first indicator of hypocrisy. Again, I repeat, hatred is the first indicator of hypocrisy. How do you say that hatred is indicator of hypocrisy? You believe the other legitimately deserves punishment, hatred. You believe the other legitimately deserves punishment. You don't believe the other deserves compassion and sympathy. You believe that the other deserves to be punished. If you say the other deserves to be punished, you should also say, I deserve to be punished. Then the first question you should ask is what? First to punish them and then punish me, sir. That's okay. First to punish them. I will be happy seeing them suffering, then punish me. Does it work like that? This is hypocrisy. Are you able to follow? So hatred is the indicator of hypocrisy. Being a moralist is an indicator of hypocrisy. Being a moralist is an indicator of hypocrisy. You become the moral authority for the entire, you become the moral standards for the entire one. You follow? Indicator of hypocrisy. Self-declared greatness and world failing to recognize your greatness. Everybody is self-declared great. Everybody is self-declared great, and the only difficulty is the world is not yet recognized, sir. That's all. Actually, it's a problem. It's actually you sympathize with the world for not having recognized your greatness. Huh? You follow? So what is the indicator of hypocrisy? Self-declared greatness. You go on repeating in your head. You, like a broken recorder, you keep playing the same story in your head again and again and again. What is the story that everybody plays in their head again and again and again? Like a broken gramophone record. What is the story they play in their head? Every human being. I am right, I am great. I am right, I am great. I am right, I am great. This is the story that goes on in everybody's mind. This is hypocrisy. Indicators of hypocrisy. With this, we conclude for today and we continue with the Charcha with Yama next week.